What if the solution to reclaiming your strength, your focus, and the very core of your masculine energy wasn't locked away in a pharmacy or hidden behind an expensive prescription? What if it was something you already do every single day, an act so common and overlooked that its profound power has been forgotten by nearly every man alive? There is a secret hidden in plain sight, a simple 1-minute ritual that can send a powerful surge of life through your veins, reawakening the biological systems that have lain dormant for years. It's not a pill, not a supplement, and certainly not another empty promise from the health industry. It's a natural physical key that unlocks your body's own incredible ability to heal and restore itself. Imagine for a moment the relentless march of modern life, the constant pressure to perform, the hurried meals swallowed between meetings, the endless stream of information demanding your attention. In this chaotic environment, we have been conditioned to seek solutions that are as fast and impersonal as the problems we face. We look for a quick fix, a concentrated dose of relief that can be purchased and consumed without thought. The entire edifice of the modern wellness industry is built upon this premise, that your body is a machine with broken parts and the only way to fix it is with external, often synthetic, interventions. We have been taught to distrust the inherent wisdom of our own physiology, to believe that healing must come from a bottle, a powder, or an injection. This deeply ingrained belief has created a chasm between us and our own bodies, a fundamental disconnection from the natural rhythms and signals that have guided human health for millennia. The truth, however, is that your body is not a machine, it is a garden. It does not need to be fixed, it needs to be cultivated. It requires the right nourishment, the right conditions, and the right attention to flourish. The most potent medicine is not a complex chemical compound, but a simple, holistic act that realigns your entire system with its own innate intelligence. The ritual I am about to share with you is the very definition of this principle. It is an act of cultivation, a moment of conscious reconnection that costs nothing but a minute of your time, yet yields returns that no pharmaceutical company can replicate. It bypasses the intellectual noise and speaks directly to the ancient biological wisdom that resides within you, waiting for the right signal to reawaken. This is not about adding something foreign to your system. It is about activating what is already there, unlocking the dormant potential that has been silenced by the relentless pace of a world that has forgotten how to listen. My name is Dr. Mohit Kara, and as a board-certified urologist, I have dedicated over 30 years of my life to helping men, particularly those over 60, rediscover the vitality they thought was lost forever. I've sat with good men, men who built careers and raised families, who confessed in the quiet confidence of my office that they no longer felt like themselves. They felt their inner fire dimming, their confidence wavering, and their control slipping away. What I am about to share with you is the culmination of decades of clinical experience and the astonishing transformations I have witnessed firsthand. It's a truth grounded in hard science, yet as simple and elegant as nature itself. Your power, your manhood isn't gone. It's merely asleep. And the signal to wake it up doesn't come from a chemical, but from a conversation, a physical conversation that begins not below your waist, but in your mouth. Get ready, because what you're about to learn will change everything you thought you knew about aging, strength, and the true source of a man's vitality. In the sterile, fluorescent-lit environment of a medical examination room, I have heard the same story told in 1,000 different ways. It is a story of quiet desperation, of a slow, creeping erosion of self. Men who had once commanded boardrooms, built homes with their bare hands, and felt an unshakable sense of their place in the world would look at me with a profound sense of loss and ask, "Where did I go?" This question is not about nostalgia, it is about identity. It speaks to a deep cellular fatigue that transcends mere physical tiredness. It is the feeling of becoming a ghost in one's own life, a spectator to a world that once felt so vibrant and responsive. They describe a life that has become muted, as if the volume has been slowly turned down over the years. The crispness of a morning sky, the satisfying ache of a day's labor, the simple, powerful joy of connection. All of it feels distant, viewed through a thick fog. My life's work has been to cut through that fog, not by prescribing another pill that papers over the symptoms, but by illuminating the root cause. My journey took me away from the conventional, symptom-focused model of medicine and toward a deeper understanding of the body as an interconnected system. I realized that the dimming of a man's inner fire was not a series of isolated failures. A weak heart here, poor circulation there, low hormones somewhere else. It was the result of a single, systemic breakdown in communication. The body's internal signaling network had gone quiet. The conversation I am referring to, the one that begins in your mouth, is the key to restarting that network. It is a conversation conducted not in words, but in enzymes, nerve impulses, and biochemical reactions. It is the most fundamental form of communication there is, the body speaking to itself. When you learn to initiate this dialogue consciously, you are no longer just a passive recipient of aging. You become an active participant in your own renewal. You are reminding your body of its own magnificent capacity to heal, to regenerate, and to thrive. This is not a hopeful theory. It is a physiological fact that I have seen validated time and again in the lives of the men I have had the privilege to guide. The truth about male vitality. After 60, let me speak plainly as a man who has spent a lifetime listening to the private frustrations of other men. Good, hard-working men who, at some point, almost universally arrive at the same conclusion. Doc, I just don't feel like myself anymore. They aren't just referring to what happens in the bedroom. They're talking about a deeper loss, the fading of that internal spark, that unwavering self-assurance that once came so naturally. It's the loss of the energy to greet the day with purpose, the dwindling sense of physical strength, the clouding of mental clarity, and the erosion of the quiet pride that comes from simply being a capable man. This slow fade can feel like an inevitable part of aging, a sign that you are somehow broken or worn out. But I want you to understand, with absolute certainty, that this is not the case. What you're experiencing is a biological process, not an irreversible decline. The prevailing narrative around aging for men is one of inevitable decay, a slow and steady surrender to frailty. Society, and often the medical community itself, treats this decline as a foregone conclusion. You are handed prescriptions for blood pressure, cholesterol, and erectile dysfunction as if they were medals for surviving another decade. But these are not solutions. They are management tools for a system that is believed to be fundamentally broken. This narrative is not only disempowering, it is biologically inaccurate. The fading vitality you experience is not a sign that your body is giving up. It is a sign that it is being starved of a critical, life-giving resource. The feeling of being worn out is not due to the number of years you have lived, but to the cumulative effect of a system operating at a profound deficit. Think of your body as a high-performance engine. In your youth, it ran on premium fuel, and every component was perfectly lubricated and responsive. But over the decades, through exposure to stress, processed foods, environmental toxins, and a more sedentary lifestyle, you have inadvertently been filling that engine with low-grade fuel. The lines have become clogged, the spark plugs have become fouled, and the internal communication systems have started to misfire. The engine hasn't lost its power. It has simply lost its ability to access and utilize it efficiently. The frustration, the brain fog, the lack of stamina, these are the sputtering and knocking sounds of an engine desperate for the right fuel and the right maintenance. The problem is not the engine's age, it's the quality of what you've been putting into it and the signals you've been sending it. This is a message of profound hope because it means that the situation is reversible. You do not need a new engine. You simply need to learn how to flush the system, provide the premium fuel it has been craving, and restart the internal communication that allows every part to work in beautiful, powerful harmony once again. The power to do this does not lie in an external fix. It lies in understanding and reactivating the natural processes that have been suppressed for far too long. At the heart of this issue is a tiny, powerful molecule your body produces called nitric oxide. Think of it as your body's internal master switch for circulation. It sends a critical signal to your blood vessels, telling them to relax, widen, and allow blood to flow freely and generously to every single organ, from your heart and brain to your manhood. When you were younger, your body was a rich factory for nitric oxide. Your systems responded instantly to desire, to exertion, to excitement. But over time, the relentless pressures of life, stress, processed foods, a more sedentary lifestyle, and even some common medications begin to deplete this vital supply. Without sufficient nitric oxide, your arteries begin to stiffen and lose their flexibility. Your energy plummets, and erections become less reliable, not because your manhood has failed, but because the life-giving blood simply can't get where it needs to go. Imagine your vascular system as a brand new garden hose, flexible, wide, and smooth, allowing water to gush through with force. As the years pass, that hose becomes stiff, kinked, and unresponsive. The pressure builds up in the wrong areas, and the flow becomes a trickle. That is precisely what is happening inside your arteries when nitric oxide levels fall. It isn't your fault. The signal for flow and relaxation has simply been muted. The incredible news is that you can turn that signal back on. Your body still holds the blueprint for making nitric oxide. You just need to give it the right materials and the right stimulation. And that revival begins not with a complex medical procedure, but with a simple personal act you can perform at home in less than a minute. Let us delve deeper into this silent crisis of nitric oxide depletion, for it is the central unsung tragedy of male aging. This molecule is so fundamental to your well-being that its decline orchestrates a systemic shutdown. It is the conductor of your circulatory orchestra, and when the conductor lays down his baton, every instrument falls out of tune. The violins of your cognitive function become screechy and unclear, leading to that frustrating brain fog and memory lapse. The deep, resonant drums of your cardiovascular system begin to beat erratically, contributing to high blood pressure and a feeling of physical vulnerability. The bold brass section of your physical strength and erectile function, which once played with such power and confidence, can barely muster a whisper. It is all interconnected. The inability to get a firm erection is not an isolated plumbing issue. It is a canary in the coal mine, signaling that the entire vascular system is in distress. It is often the first and most obvious sign that blood is not flowing as it should, not just to your penis, but to your heart, your lungs, and your brain. The modern medical approach often treats this symptom in isolation, offering a pill that temporarily forces open the vessels in one specific area, like putting a powerful pump on one small section of that old, kinked garden hose. While it might produce a short-term effect, it does nothing to address the underlying problem of the hose itself being stiff, brittle, and clogged. True restoration means making the entire hose flexible, wide, and healthy again. This is what restoring your body's natural nitric oxide production does. It is a holistic solution that rejuvenates the entire system from the inside out. It doesn't just force a temporary result, it restores the very conditions that allow for spontaneous, natural, and robust function everywhere. The beauty of this approach is that your body has not forgotten how to do this. The factory for nitric oxide production may have slowed down, but it has not closed. The schematics, the blueprints, the cellular machinery, it is all still there, waiting for the right raw materials and the right operational command to fire up the assembly line once more. You hold the power to place that order, to restart the factory, and to once again flood your entire system with this life-giving, vessel-opening molecule. Why chewing matters more than you think. When I first started my medical career, I was trained to look for complex problems and provide complex solutions, prescriptions, surgeries, and advanced therapies. It took years of working with real patients to learn a lesson that medical school never taught me. The most profound healing often comes from the smallest, most natural acts. Chewing, something we all do on autopilot every single day, is one of those hidden powerhouses. You see, chewing is not merely the mechanical process of breaking down food, it is an act of profound communication. With each deliberate bite, you are sending a cascade of powerful signals from your mouth up to your brain and down through your entire body via a massive nerve highway called the vagus nerve. This ancient, elegant system tells your body, nourishment is on its way, prepare to receive it, open the vessels, activate the enzymes, balance the hormones. It's an internal symphony designed by nature to awaken your body from the inside out. The modern world has declared a war on chewing. Our food has become softer, more processed, and engineered for rapid consumption. We drink our calories in smoothies and gulp down meals in front of screens, barely registering the taste or texture. This is a tragedy of immense proportions for our health, especially for men. When you swallow your food virtually whole, you are essentially ambushing your digestive system. The stomach and intestines are forced to deal with a mass of undigested material, leading to inflammation, poor nutrient absorption, and a state of chronic stress. But more importantly, you have skipped the most critical step in the entire digestive process, the initial signaling phase that happens in the mouth. Your mouth is not just an entry point for food, it is the command center for your entire metabolic and circulatory response. The act of mastication is the trigger. As your jaw works, it stimulates nerve endings that send a direct message to your brain, which then relays instructions down the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is one of the most incredible structures in your body, a vast branching network that connects your brainstem to virtually every major organ, including your heart, lungs, and entire digestive tract. When you chew properly, you are essentially playing this nerve like a finely tuned instrument. It sends a signal to your stomach to begin producing the precise amount of acid needed. It tells your pancreas to secrete the appropriate enzymes. It signals your gallbladder to release bile. And crucially, it tells your entire vascular system to enter a state of rest and digest. A parasympathetic mode where blood vessels dilate, heart rate slows, and the body shifts into a state of healing and absorption. It is in this state that nitric oxide production is optimized. By rushing through our meals, we deny ourselves this profound physiological shift. We remain in a state of sympathetic fight or flight stress, where blood vessels are constricted, digestion is impaired, and the body is unable to properly utilize the nutrients it receives. The simple mindful act of chewing, therefore, is the gateway to unlocking the full nutritional and biochemical potential of your food. It is the difference between simply consuming calories and truly nourishing your body on a cellular level. It transforms eating from a mechanical chore into a therapeutic ritual. The unfortunate truth is that most modern men have lost this vital connection. We live in a world of haste, wolfing down our meals while distracted by screens and deadlines. We swallow our food before our bodies even have a chance to register what is happening. As a result, that crucial signal never gets sent, and the symphony is never played. However, when you consciously slow down and chew with intention, you are not just eating, you are conducting a biochemical orchestra. Enzymes in your saliva immediately begin transforming nutrients into bioavailable forms your body can readily absorb. Salivary nitrates start their conversion into nitric oxide, that master molecule of blood flow. Your entire digestive system awakens, your blood vessels start to relax, and your nervous system shifts out of a state of stress and into a mode of restoration and repair. All of this incredible activity happens before the food even reaches your stomach. That is the true power of mindful chewing. Now imagine pairing this simple physical act with foods that are specifically engineered by nature to fuel the very systems that men lose over time: blood circulation, hormonal balance, and vascular health. When you chew certain nuts slowly and mindfully, something truly remarkable occurs. You are not just absorbing their nutrients, you are igniting the very chemistry that drives male vitality. The unique texture, the healthy oils, and the rich minerals all interact with your saliva, creating a perfect storm of bioactive compounds right there in your mouth. This isn't a gimmick. It's physiology at its most beautiful. Let's visualize this process in greater detail. Picture the moment a specific combination of nuts enters your mouth. The first chew is the downbeat of the conductor's baton. Instantly, your salivary glands, which have been largely dormant between meals, spring into action. They release a complex fluid containing more than just water. It contains amylase, an enzyme that begins the breakdown of carbohydrates, and lingual lipase, which starts the digestion of fats. This is critical because the healthy fats in nuts need to be emulsified to be properly used by the body. But something even more magical is happening. The foods we eat contain nitrates, and your saliva contains special bacteria that begin the process of converting these dietary nitrates into nitrites. This is the first crucial step in the pathway to creating nitric oxide. When you swallow these converted nitrites, they mix with stomach acid and are further transformed into nitric oxide, which is then absorbed into your bloodstream to work its vessel-relaxing magic. So, by chewing slowly and deliberately, you are maximizing the time these nuts spend in this initial conversion chamber. You are essentially kick-starting your body's nitric oxide engine right there in your mouth. This process is profoundly amplified by the nature of the nuts themselves, which are dense with the very precursors and cofactors needed for this entire chain reaction. The friction and pressure of chewing also release the volatile oils and micronutrients locked within the nut's cellular structure, making them infinitely more available to your system than if they were swallowed hastily. It is a perfect synergy. The mechanical act of chewing unlocks the chemical potential of the food, and the food itself provides the exact ingredients the body needs to respond to the signal being sent. It is a closed, elegant loop of communication, activation, and nourishment. Nature's blueprint for blood flow, the walnut. Over my career, I've witnessed men spend small fortunes chasing the elusive promise of better blood flow. They've tried pills, powders, injections, and every miracle supplement advertised online. Yet the truth is that one of the most potent circulation boosters on the planet doesn't come from a laboratory. It grows quietly inside a shell, hanging from a tree, waiting to be discovered. I'm talking about the walnut. This small, humble nut, shaped remarkably like a tiny human brain, is nature's perfect design for vascular health. Walnuts are packed with a compound called L-arginine, an amino acid that serves as the direct precursor to nitric oxide. When you chew a walnut, you are essentially providing your body with the raw building blocks it needs to produce that crucial molecule. Your body absorbs the L-arginine and immediately begins converting it, allowing your arteries to relax and your blood to flow freely once more. The wisdom of nature is often breathtaking in its elegance, and the walnut is a prime example. The doctrine of signatures, an ancient concept that plants often resemble the body parts they are meant to heal, finds a stunning validation here. The walnut, with its two cerebral-like hemispheres, is not only a premier food for brain health due to its omega-3 content, but is also a master key for the entire vascular network that feeds the brain and every other organ. L-arginine is the star player in this process. Think of your blood vessels as being lined with a special layer of cells called the endothelium. This endothelial lining is the factory floor where nitric oxide is produced. The primary raw material needed on this assembly line is L-arginine. When you supply your body with an abundant source of this amino acid, you are essentially giving the factory workers everything they need to run the production line at full capacity. The L-arginine is taken up by the endothelial cells and, through an enzymatic process, is converted directly into nitric oxide. This newly minted nitric oxide then signals the smooth muscle cells surrounding the artery to relax, an effect known as vasodilation. The artery widens, resistance decreases, and blood flows through with the ease and vigor of your youth. This is not a theoretical process, it is a direct, measurable, and profound physiological event. Every time you mindfully chew a walnut, you are initiating this beautiful cascade, sending a wave of relaxation and openness throughout your tens of thousands of miles of blood vessels. It is a direct intervention, providing the exact substrate needed at the exact location to produce the exact molecule required for optimal function. It is more targeted and more natural than any pharmaceutical could ever hope to be, because it is working with your body's own exquisite design, not against it. But the power of the walnut doesn't stop there. It is also one of the richest plant-based sources of omega-3 fatty acids, specifically a type known as alpha-linolenic acid, ALA. These fatty acids are an anti-inflammatory powerhouse, working to soothe the delicate inner lining of your arteries, keeping them supple, resilient, and responsive. Chronic inflammation is a silent destroyer of men's health. It causes arteries to become rigid and stiff, reducing oxygen delivery and weakening performance in every sense of the word. The omega-3s in walnuts directly counteract this damaging process, restoring the elasticity your vascular system needs to respond to physical and emotional stimulation. I often ask my patients to picture their circulatory system as a powerful river. When the riverbanks are soft and pliable, the water flows with ease, nourishing everything downstream. But when those banks become hard and brittle, the flow slows to a crawl, and the entire ecosystem begins to suffer. Through their unique combination of L-arginine and omega-3s, walnuts help restore that natural, life-giving flow, revitalizing the parts of your body that depend on it most: your heart, your brain, and yes, your manhood. And fascinatingly, the simple act of chewing amplifies this effect. Mastication releases the oils and enzymes, kickstarting the conversion to nitric oxide right in your mouth. In that single minute, you are sparking the very process that supports vitality from the inside out. Let us expand on the insidious nature of chronic inflammation. It is like a slow, smoldering fire within your arterial walls. This fire is started by factors like stress, processed sugar, and environmental toxins. Over time, it damages the smooth, delicate endothelial lining, creating a rough, irritated surface. The body's response is to patch up this damage, but the patching material can build up, leading to plaques that narrow the arteries. This is the foundation of atherosclerosis. The omega-3 fatty acids found in walnuts are like a team of expert firefighters and healers arriving on the scene. They possess powerful anti-inflammatory properties that help to quench this internal fire. They soothe the irritated endothelial lining, making it less prone to damage and plaque formation. Furthermore, these healthy fats are incorporated into the cell membranes of the arterial walls, making them more fluid, flexible, and resilient. This is the key to restoring elasticity. A youthful artery is not a rigid pipe. It is a dynamic, living tissue that can expand and contract in response to the body's needs. The omega-3s in walnuts restore this youthful dynamism. So when you consume walnuts, you are launching a two-pronged attack on vascular aging. The L-arginine is working from the inside, boosting nitric oxide to actively open up the vessels. Simultaneously, the omega-3s are working on the vessel walls themselves, healing inflammation and restoring their structural integrity and flexibility. It is a comprehensive strategy for vascular rejuvenation, a perfect symphony of function and structure, all contained within the humble shell of a single nut. The foundation of calm strength, the almond. There is an almost sacred wisdom in the way nature provides us with exactly what we need at each stage of life, if only we are willing to pay attention. For men navigating life beyond 60, one of the greatest challenges is not just physical performance, but balance, hormonal balance, emotional balance, and the ability to feel calm, steady, and fundamentally strong. I have met countless men who felt a profound sense of disconnection from themselves. They weren't clinically depressed, but they felt dulled, as if the color had drained from their world. Their sleep was unfulfilling, their energy was unreliable, and their patience was thin. Time and time again, I have guided them toward a solution that comes not from a prescription pad, but from the simple, pure power of the almond. If the walnut is the key to reopening the highways of your circulatory system, the almond is the foundation upon which your entire neuromuscular and endocrine house is built. It provides the core stability and the essential building blocks for hormonal health, creating a state of what I call calm strength. This is the opposite of the agitated, anxious energy that comes from stimulants like caffeine or the artificial highs and lows from prescription hormones. Calm strength is a deep, grounded sense of capability. It is the feeling of having a full tank of gas and a steady hand on the wheel. It is the quiet confidence that comes from a nervous system that is relaxed and a hormonal system that is in balance. The modern man, especially in his later years, is often running on fumes. He is living in a state of chronic sympathetic nervous system activation, the fight or flight mode. This state is characterized by high levels of stress hormones like cortisol, constricted blood vessels, tense muscles, and a mind that is constantly racing. It is impossible to feel strong or vital in this state. It is a state of survival, not thriving. The almond, through its incredible mineral profile, is nature's perfect antidote to this modern malady. It provides the precise nutrients needed to shift the body out of this state of alarm and back into the parasympathetic rest and restore mode, where true healing, regeneration, and strength building can occur. It doesn't just address a single symptom. It recalibrates the entire operating system of your body, creating the internal environment necessary for vitality to flourish. This is why its effects are so profound. It isn't just about improving one metric. It's about restoring the fundamental balance from which all aspects of health, physical, mental, and emotional, arise. The almond is far more than just a crunchy snack. It is a nutrient-dense medicine chest, perfectly designed by nature for male restoration. When you chew almonds, you are delivering a potent dose of two of the most critical minerals for masculine vitality: magnesium and zinc. Let's begin with magnesium, often called the relaxation mineral. It works like nature's own tranquilizer, calming the muscles, relaxing the blood vessels, and quieting an overstimulated nervous system. A vast majority of older men are unknowingly deficient in magnesium, living in a constant state of low-grade physical and mental tension. Magnesium restores the body's innate ability to let go, easing stress, stabilizing the heartbeat, and helping arteries remain open and supple. Then there is zinc, the second treasure hidden within every almond. Zinc is the bedrock of male hormone health. It is the essential spark that keeps your body's testosterone production engine running. Without adequate zinc, your body simply cannot manufacture testosterone efficiently, leading to a dip in energy, libido, and drive. When you restore your zinc levels through a whole food like almonds, your body begins to regulate itself again. Your hormones find their rhythm, and you feel more grounded, alert, and like yourself. It's not the artificial surge you might get from an injection. It is a quiet, steady reawakening of your body's own power. The true beauty lies in their synergy. The magnesium calms you down, while the zinc lifts you up. Together, they create a state of powerful equilibrium, giving you not just physical stamina, but emotional clarity and unwavering confidence. Let us explore this synergy in greater detail. Magnesium is involved in over 300 essential biochemical reactions in the body. It is the master mineral for relaxation. It acts as a natural calcium channel blocker, which is how it helps relax blood vessels and lower blood pressure. It is essential for the production of GABA, a neurotransmitter that has a calming effect on the brain, helping to reduce anxiety and promote restful sleep. When you are deficient in magnesium, your muscles remain tense, your nerves fire excessively, and your mind cannot shut off. Restoring magnesium levels is like giving every cell in your body permission to exhale. Zinc, on the other hand, is the quintessential male mineral. It is a critical component of the enzymes that convert cholesterol into testosterone. A deficiency in zinc directly translates to a sluggish testosterone production line. Furthermore, zinc helps to inhibit the enzyme aromatase, which converts testosterone into estrogen. Thus, adequate zinc levels not only support the production of testosterone, but also help to maintain a healthy balance between testosterone and estrogen, which is crucial for male vitality as you age. Now, consider how these two minerals work together in the context of the power chew. As the magnesium from the almonds is absorbed, it begins to calm your system, lowering cortisol and shifting you into that beneficial parasympathetic state. This calm state is the ideal environment for hormone production. The body cannot efficiently produce anabolic building hormones like testosterone when it is in a catabolic breaking down state of stress. The magnesium sets the stage. Then the zinc comes in, providing the direct raw material your testes need to synthesize testosterone. It is a perfect 1-2 punch. Magnesium creates the optimal calm environment, and zinc provides the fuel for masculine energy production. This is nature's design at its most intelligent, providing both the calming agent and the activating agent in one perfect package, allowing for the restoration of balanced, sustainable, and authentic strength.